Hi everyone. Sorry about the delay. I was having some technical difficulties with my laptop. Uh, so tonight I'll be reading the Choose Your Own Adventure #1, The Cave of Time by Edward Packard, and it's illustrated by Paul Granger. So let's read the back cover. You are the hero of your own adventure. You are lost in a strange, dimly lit cave. Gradually, you can make out two passageways. One curves downward to the right, the other leads upward to the left. It occurs to you that the one leading down may go to the past, and the one leading up may go to the future. If you take the left branch, turn to page 20. If you take the right branch, turn to page 61. If you walk outside the cave again, turn to page 21. What happens next in the story? It all depends on the choices you make. How does the story end? Only you can find out. And the best part is that you can keep reading and rereading until you've had not one, but many incredibly daring adventures. Let's choose your own adventure. So this is the first one. Here's the cover art. Someone at one point in the last 40 or so years wrote some pen on the cover, but you can see that art there. All right. And then, as usual, here's what kids have to say about the books in this exciting series. I read it practically every day. It was fun going on adventures and picking out your own ending. It was hard to pick, and fun to choose. I wouldn't change it in a million billion years. It was boring. I read it 9 times. I liked it very, very much. It was the best book I ever read. All right. Which one of these quotes is me? C. Falcor. Yeah, C. Falcor will show up somewhere. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't hear the ice cream truck in the background. Seems pretty loud from here. All right, there we are. There's some more artwork. Hey. Hey, Sue. Yeah, I was late because my laptop is pretty old and it was taking forever to apply some updates. And then almost at the very end of applying the updates, it said that it couldn't complete the updates, and then it was undoing the updates, and it was still doing that, and then I decided to switch over to Valerie's laptop. Without the laptop, I wouldn't be able to see any of the comments, so that's why I needed that. All right, now here it says the concept, title, and editorial assistance for The Cave of Time were provided by Andrea Packard. Huh, interesting. This was first published back in 1979. Cave of Time. Here we go. Warning, do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many different adventures you can go on in the Cave of Time. From time to time, as you read along, you will be asked to make a choice. Your choice may lead to success or disaster. The adventures you take are a result of your choice. You are responsible because you choose. After you make your choice, follow the instructions to see what happens to you next. Remember, you cannot go back. Yeah, right. Think carefully before you make a move. One mistake can be your last, or it may lead you to fame and fortune. I don't think our favorite linguistic specialist will be in this one, and she's an expert on xenobiology or something like that too. She's specializes in a lot of different stuff. All right. You've hiked through Snake Canyon once before while visiting your Uncle Howard at Red Creek Ranch, but you never noticed any cave entrance. It looks as though our recent rock slide has uncovered it. Though the late afternoon sun is striking the opening of the cave, the interior remains in total darkness. You step inside a few feet, trying to get an idea of how big it is. As your eyes become used to the dark, you see what looks like a tunnel ahead, dimly lit by some kind of phosphorescent material on its walls. The tunnel walls are smooth, as if they were shaped by running water. After 20 feet or so, the tunnel curves. You wonder where it leads. You venture in a bit further, but you feel nervous, being alone in such a strange place. You turn and hurry out. A thunderstorm may be coming, judging by how dark it is outside. Suddenly you realize the sun has long since set, and the landscape is lit only by the pale light of the full moon. You must have fallen asleep and woken up hours later. But then you remember something even more strange. Just last night, the moon was only a slim crescent in the sky. You wonder how long you've been in the cave. You are not hungry. You don't feel you have been sleeping. You wonder whether to try to walk back home by moonlight, or whether to wait for dawn, rather than risk losing your footing on the steep and rocky trail. Nah, I'm just going to go home. All done. Dr. Vivaldi, if she was here, she'd have it all figured out for us, I'm sure. I don't think she's in this one, but unfortunately she's not. Oh, I just realized there's like a lizard or something like that at the cave entrance. I didn't notice that before. You can like barely see it, and they don't mention a lizard at the cave entrance. If you decide to start back home, turn to page 4. If you decide to wait, turn to page 5. You die in your sleep. The end. Walking home means we die. Is that what that means? Probably. If we just decide to like give up and walk home, trust your ESP. If your ESP tells you to go home, turn to page 4. If your ESP is telling you to wait, turn to page 5. So I'm thinking we should not walk home. Seems like people think that's a stupid idea. We'll just wait. I mean, we're going to die at some point. Wait. Okay. I think we will wait. No, I don't think anyone thinks we should, All right. You wait until morning, but as the rosy wisps of dawn begin to light the eastern sky, a chill and forbidding wind begins to blow. If you seek shelter, turn to page 6. If you brave the freezing wind to see more of the world about you, turn to page 16. Should we brave the freezing wind to see more of the world about us? That's how kids would normally, think about these things, that they'd brave the wind and see more of the world about them. Chill and forbidding wind. Shelter? Anyone else think we should seek shelter? I haven't read, so just so everybody knows, I haven't read any of these books in ages, so when I'm reading these, I have no idea what's happening ahead of time. That should probably be really obvious, but some of these books are probably, I know I've read before, but it's been so long that I don't remember. Shelter. Freezing wind is no joke, I agree. Don't want to turn into a popsicle. I don't want to brave the freezing wind. Alright, page 6. Oh boy. You step into a niche in the rocks to escape the merciless blast of wind and lean back against the rock wall. Suddenly it crumbles under your weight, causing you to fall backward down a muddy slope and into a pond. The sun shines brightly down on you as you pick yourself up, dripping wet, and wade to the grassy shore. You look back at the rock rising out of the pond, but you can't see where you fell through. While you are collecting your senses, a horse comes prancing up, its rider dressed in tin armor, a knight out of the history books, enough to make you laugh. The horseman lifts off his helmet and laughs himself. "What a place for a bath," he calls out. "Well, it was worth it. You're cleaner than a pig." He almost falls off his horse. He is laughing so hard. "But climb on, and I'll take you back to the castle," he says. "We'll see if we can make a human out of you yet." If you accept the ride back to the castle, turn to page 22. If you decline the invitation and try to find your way back into the cave of time, turn to page 114. Oh wait, how do we know it's a cave of time? I think, thank you, Stephanie. I think my accent kept shifting from trying to do a English accent to then a Scottish accent. I'm not sure what type of accent I'm really trying to do with this guy, but as long as you know it's a different character. Rides around with the jousting pole. Yeah, he's always ready for a joust. At a moment's notice. You don't think we should ride off with this guy? And why would he use the word human? If he is a knight from like the medieval times. Were they using the word human back then? Accept the ride? Ride back? I'd like a lot of votes to accept the ride. Accept. Alright, I think we'll accept. Accept. Page 22. The Laughing Knight helps you up onto his horse, and you sit uncomfortably as it canters over the countryside. After traveling a mile or so, you come to a great stone castle. The horse trots across the drawbridge and into the stable. Jump! The knight calls to you, and you slide off the rear of the horse. The knight escorts you into the grand chamber of the castle. All about you are stewards, attendants, and knights. A few minutes later, you find yourself bowing before the king himself. After hearing your story, the king looks gravely at his advisors and knights and stewards. Does anyone believe this tale? He asks. Everyone cries back, No, your majesty, or Certainly not, your majesty. Then tell us the truth, the king roars at you. And there's the king, looks like a picture from a deck of cards. Okay. If you insist you are telling the truth, turn to page 36. If you try to make up a plausible story, King Oil. Yeah, he looks like one of the some art from that from those playing cards. Yeah, through the looking glass. Yeah, I kind of thought of that too. It's like Alice in Wonderland. We have a weird butt again. We do. We do have a weird butt. I don't know what's going on with that. So should we make up a plausible story? Don't lie. If we try to lie, the lie's probably going to sound even worse than tell himself to stab himself in the head. I mean, our butts are probably shaped that weirdly because of all the adventures that we've been on, you know. So it's a lot of running around and stuff. No, all right. So no one thinks we should lie. So we'll go to page 36. Okay. I know it sounds strange, Your Majesty, you say, but I have no reason to incur your wrath by making up a false story. The king looks around at his courtiers. They all have grave expressions on their faces, as if you have committed some unpardonable sin, and here they are. Their grave faces. Page 11. Off to the tower, the king shouts. 2 knights leap forward, drag you out of the chamber, and with spears in your back, force you to climb 48 stone steps to the tower prison, a tiny cylindrical room with one small window looking out over the moat and pasture land beyond. The only furniture is a bed of straw. You realize you are back in the early days of feudal Europe, where the only laws are the king's whims. You have no idea how long he intends to keep you in the tower. There was one possibility of escape. The water in the moat, about 25 feet almost directly below your window, is quite deep. If you jump out far enough, you should land in the deep water and not be hurt. How do adventures affect butts? I don't know. We must be doing like certain exercises when we're like going on adventures to like make our butts like these weird shapes. I'm not sure. Haven't really thought about it too much. Yeah, so if we jump, turn to page 12. If not, turn to page 13. And jump. Yeah, so should we jump? Yeah, we should have just walked home. Yeah, I feel like if we jump, we probably will break our necks. Like it says, like it's not. It says not. It says the water's deep, but I don't remember like the water in moats being particularly deep. Yeah, like, I feel Van Halen it. Just jump. Jump. Yeah, I don't think we're going to jump. Alright, you decide to wait, but soon regret it. A guard visits you twice a day and brings you only black bread and water. In a few days, you feel almost too weak to escape, even if you had the chance. But just as you are beginning to despair of ever regaining your freedom, the guard walks in, smiling. "The king has ordered you out of here," he says. "We have a much more important prisoner, a man who insulted the king's horse." He laughs in your face. You don't know whether he is telling the truth or not, but he holds the door and waves you out. You walk down the long flight of stone steps to the main courtyard, free again, at least for the moment. The drawbridge is down, and there seems to be nothing in the way of you leaving the castle. There is a splendid black horse tied up near you, probably owned by one of the knights. It occurs to you that you could cover a lot of ground on that horse before anyone realizes what happened. If you mount the horse and ride off, turn to page 14. If you ask the king for refuge, turn to page 15. I'm not sure what black bread is. Is that pumpernickel? I mean, if it's pumpernickel, that does sound good. I could probably get away with having like one slice of bread. I think that wouldn't kill me. So, apparently we know how to ride a horse now by traveling back in time. Because there was no mention of us ever taking any horse riding lessons, so apparently just anytime you live in medieval Europe, or feudal Europe, you can suddenly ride a horse. I mean, stealing a horse sounds bad, but also last time we tried to reason with the king, he locked us in the tower. So, the king is mean. Take the horse. I feel like we asked the king for refuge. I don't know. Do you get an ulcer from the bread? Turn to page 16. Anybody else think we should ask the king for refuge? I mean, I'd like to believe the king would be more sympathetic to us now, or reasonable. Steal, yeah. Let's say steal the horse. All right, we're gonna steal the horse. In a moment, you are across the bridge and galloping over the countryside, feeling a good deal smarter than the king and his knights. When you pass some shepherds and wave, they wave back. You stop to rest at the cottage of a friendly goatherd who feeds you a good dinner. "Do not fear the king," he says. "He is a fool who sits and drinks grog all day. His only concern is deciding who to put in the tower. His own knights laugh at him, and he is more likely to fall from his throne than you from your horse. Be off now, and on to merry England, for great things await you there. Godspeed and good fortune." Your energies are renewed by good food and drink, and your horse too is ready to ride. You thank your host warmly and ride off to new adventures and a new life, almost 1,000 years before you were born. Okay, yeah, drinking grog all day, that doesn't sound too bad. My neighbor is celebrating the holiday. That's true, we're all probably going to die of plague in a week. I mean, it depends on when we are. Depends on what time period we're in. Some time periods are better than others. I mean, it's possible that we're all about to die of the plague. Right, so that was not a bad ending. Everything you knew was gone. You decide not to try to find the Cave of Time. You decide to just settle down in medieval England and live to the ripe old age of 30. All right, and then lose all your teeth. If you decide, so yeah, so let's try. So I assume we still want to try waiting and not go back home. I also wanted to meet the purple water dragon and the T-Rex. Sounds exciting. All right, so how How about when we had to seek shelter, or we could decide to brave the freezing wind? Should we try braving the freezing wind, or should we still try to seek shelter? So when we tried to seek shelter, that's when we found ourselves in medieval England. If we try to brave the freezing wind, that might brave it. Brave the freezing wind? Jen says we should brave the freezing wind. I almost think we should continue to seek shelter. I mean, brave the wind? All right. We're going to brave the wind. You die of freezing wind, the end. Maybe. You resolutely trudge along a rocky ridge. It has been cleared of whirling snow by the fierce wind, which bites and blows against your body. The world seems transformed, and much for the worse. You must find a house or a cabin, people who can help you, or you will die. As you ponder your fate, you stumble and fall, plunging into a deep crevasse. You black out and later awaken, still shivering, but in a warmer place at least. By the dim amber light, you can see that somehow you have fallen back into one of the chambers in the Cave of Time. A passageway leads to the right, another to the left. Does one lead to the future and one to the past? If you enter the left-hand passageway, turn to page 24. If you enter the right-hand passageway, turn to page 25. Yeah, you resolutely trudge along a rocky ridge. That is a good line, or a good sentence. Yeah, we shouldn't brave the freezing wind, but we did. Break the wind. So I'm not sure which passageway leads to the past and which one leads to the future. But who thinks we should take the left and who thinks we should take the right? Left? Yeah, well, I don't think we ever confirmed it was the Cave of Time. I think we just decided that it was. We probably used our ESP to figure it out. If your ESP tells you that this is the Cave of Time, turn to page 50. Left. Right, left. Seems like there's a lot of votes for taking a left. Alright, I think we'll take left. You follow the left passageway. It leads upward to the surface. Below you, a grassy meadow slopes down to a clear, fast-flowing stream. Beyond it are pine-covered foothills stretching in the distance towards snow-covered peaks. You might be in Wyoming in your own time, but whatever time it is, the world you see appears to be a hospitable one. You notice a herd of buffalo grazing, but nowhere can you see a house, or fence, or road, or any sign of human presence. It is possible you are living hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago. You gaze upward. One of the puffy white cumulus clouds is moving in a strange fashion. It is descending. A spaceship is landing right before your eyes, only a few hundred yards away. If you hide from view, turn to page 38. If you go up to the spaceship, turn to page 40. Okay, and who thinks we should hide from view? I mean, usually if we go up to the spaceship, it's cool. It works out okay. It's a cloud spaceship? I guess so. I guess it looked like a spaceship. Sorry, it looked like a cloud, and then we realized that it was actually a spaceship. All right, I guess we're going to the spaceship then. We're not going to hide. Page 40. You cautiously approach the spaceship and, to your amazement, see that it is resting a foot or so above the ground, without any visible mechanism keeping it aloft. There are no engines, rocket exhausts, portholes, landing gear, antenna, or any equipment you might imagine a spaceship would need. You realize it must be the product of a supremely advanced civilization. Trusting that such people have learned to be loving towards others, you approach the ship. A portal slides open, but all you see within is a shimmering blue light. A large cube is thrust out through the portal and lowered to the ground by mechanical arms. The top of the cube is withdrawn, leaving a pallet on it which lie the sleeping forms of 3 men and 3 women dressed in shrouds of animal skin. Their bodies and features remind you of pictures you have seen depicting the earliest man on Earth. You have an impulse to jump aboard the spaceship before the portal closes. If you do, turn to page 115. If not, turn to page 83. So should we jump into the spaceship? Yeah, that's a lot of trust there. I agree. We just kind of trust that, these aliens that we know nothing about have learned about, peace and love and all that stuff. Because, just kind of keep our fingers crossed and hope that's the way it's going to be. I mean, they didn't kill those 3 men and 3 women that they lowered from the ship, so they're still alive. They gave us a box of cave people as a present. We're going aboard the spaceship. Okay, let's do it. Page 115. Oh, page 115. It's going to take a while to get there. Whoa. You jump aboard and find yourself in a sealed chamber. The walls surrounding you remind you of the inside of a bathtub. It occurs to you that the beings who control this spaceship, have some means of manipulating time. Could it be that the Cave of Time is their creation? As you are thinking these thoughts, you become increasingly drowsy. In a moment, you are asleep. You awaken in darkness, wondering if you may be traveling through space in the alien ship. There is light coming toward you from one direction, and you get up and walk towards it. Then you realize you are looking through the opening of your cave. You hurry out, and to your joy, find Snake Canyon just as you remembered it. You are back in your own time. It's a long while before you feel like visiting Snake Canyon again. When you do, you find the opening to the Cave of Time has been covered over by a massive rock slide, and you think to yourself, that may be just as well. The end. Well, that wasn't too bad. So we haven't gotten killed yet, so that's good. In one ending, we stayed in feudal Europe. Yeah, it was kind of, all right, we're back home now. Sounds cool. We're back at the Cave of Time. Yeah, it was kind of anticlimactic. ESP, yeah, I feel like we have ESP, and we always have ESP now. Alright, so what? I should try... Okay, so how about who wants to try the right-handed passageway? Or should we hide from the spaceship? Go to the right-hand passageway? Let's check out if we hide from the spaceship. Probably we'll end up hanging out with the cave people. We'll hide from view, see what happens there. Oh. You feel you must be far in the future. Are you really looking at an alien spaceship? If so, you would rather watch from a safe distance. You climb rapidly up the hill, wondering how you got to this strange time. Ahead of you is a niche in the rocks. You step inside. You realize you are in the bottom of the crevasse you fell into from the Ice Age. Even if you wanted to get back to that time, there is no way you could do so. You keep walking. Eventually you approach open ground on the opposite side of the hill. Now you can see a vast stretch of open country, hilly, rocky, and mostly barren. Yet thousands of people are constructing a huge wall. All over the landscape you see oxen pulling carts filled with rocks. The wall is at least 20 feet high and extends as far as the eye can see. Ladders are strung up against the wall, and on every rung a man or woman is stationed. They hand rocks up one to another to the top of the wall. You find this sight hardly less amazing than the sight of the alien spaceship, but it appears that you are witnessing the building of the Great Wall of China. I feel like, considering stuff that's happened in previous books, I feel we might start to encounter a whole bunch of stereotypes and stuff, but we'll see what happens. All right, if you go up to the wall builders, turn to page 82. If you return to the crevasse, turn to page 87. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that is way more than 20 feet. There's a lot of dashes where they don't need them. Talk to them. Hope you speak Chinese. Yeah, maybe we just speak Chinese now. I mean, we also knew how to ride a horse. So maybe we're just developing all sorts of skills that we didn't know we had. Page 82, go up to the wall builders. All right, yeah. Yeah, I just feel like there could be some problematic stereotypes here, as there usually is in these, I don't know about the later Choose Your Own Adventure books, but certainly in the earlier ones that I've been reading so far. Page 82, we will talk to them. You go up to the base of the wall where the people are working. When they see you, they imagine you are a spy from some unknown tribe. Some guards capture you and force you to sit on a pile of rocks while they talk about you. After a while, they point to one of the ladders. 2 other people force you to start handing up rocks. You realize that you have been conscripted to work building a wall 20 feet high, 12 feet wide, and 1,400 miles long. You calculate it will take about 10 billion rocks to build the wall. You wonder how many of them you will lift before you can escape, if you ever do. And there you are, and there's our problematic stereotype. Okay, here we go. Sounds great. Or not so great. Okay, get to work. Tell you, yeah, it is an impressive calculation that we figured all that out. I calculate this wall is 1,400 miles long. Like, maybe we learned that in school or something. Wow. I guess we were paying attention that day in class, in history class. And how do we know it's going to take 10 billion rocks? We're going to die a slow death. All right. I think ancient historical slavery. I think we'll try the right-hand passageway. We'll go back and try that. Yeah, we don't know Chinese, so that's true. We did. At least we have a job, you know. Should be happy with that. Yeah, our ESP is doing all sorts of amazing things. I mean, we didn't die right away, so, and we did get a job. Probably give us food and housing. All right, we'll try the right-hand passageway this time. Maybe that'll turn out better. You walk along the right-hand passageway for a long distance, praying that you can find a tunnel that will lead you to your own time. You choose one of the many tunnels you see and follow it. Instead of rising to the surface, you enter a brightly lighted chamber, in the center of which is a bearded old man sitting in a chair. "Welcome," he says, as if he has been expecting you. "Thank you," you reply. "Can you help me find my way back to my own time?" The old man smiles. "First of all," he says, "tell me why you want to return to your own time, instead of another time." If you say, "Because I want to be back with my family and friends," turn to page 43. If you say, "Because I don't want to take a chance of being in a bad time," turn to page 41. If you say, "I would like to try another time, but only if you can assure me that I will eventually get back to my own time," turn to page 44. If you say, "Who are you?" turn to page 45. So that gives us several choices here. Do we want to say that we want to be back with our family and friends? Every time is a bad time, pretty much. Yeah, probably. Do we want to say we want a bunch of guarantees that... I feel like the funniest thing would be to say, like, yeah, sure, I'll try another time, but you have to also assure me that I can eventually get back to my own time. He's probably just going to tell us that, yeah, I can't give you all those guarantees. 45, who are you? Everyone thinks we should ask, who are you? I agree. Let's find out who this guy is. I am a philosopher, the old man says, who, when asked to choose a time, instead chose timelessness, so that, although nothing would ever happen in my life, I would have all the time in the world to think about it. Are you happy with your decision? No, because philosophy is nothing outside of time. Take the tunnel to your right, return to your own time, and let your life be your philosophy. The end. He didn't really have much to say about who he was. Okay. Do we want to say we want to be with our families and friends? Maybe it is a test. Maybe that's the right answer. Maybe our family and friends was the old man that we met along the way. Third choice? Existential angst ending. He wanted all the time to philosophize. But without life and without time, philosophy is useless. Dude, all we are is dust and wind. Yeah, that was kind of unsatisfying. 43. We want to be back with our family and friends. The cave of time is our family now. Someone say we should do 44, 41. Maybe 44. All sorts of different choices here. Oh, we'll try. We'll try 43. Yeah, I feel like I don't like 41. I mean, but it's not being untruthful. Like, we don't want to be stuck in a bad time. All right, we'll do 43. I feel like that's the right answer. And why do you want to be back with your family and friends? The old man asks. Because I will miss them. Could hardly bear not to see them again. And my family and friends would be sad not to see me. You think of others, and you think of yourself too, he replies. That is a good reason to be in your own time. Take the next tunnel to your right, and you will find your way there. You have chosen to have only one time, have you not? That is true, you reply. Then make the most of it, he says, with one hand outstretched to wish you well. And there's the old man, with a really, really long beard. I guess he has no way to shave his beard or cut it or trim it or anything. Okay. That is quite a beard. Looks like an emo garden gnome. There's the philosophy. This is our philosophy. Maybe try... Maybe we'll try 44 now. See if we would like to try another time, but only if you can assure me that I can eventually get back to my own time. You gotta give me some guarantees here. Oh. Ah, you are a shrewd one, the old man says. You'll try to get 2 loaves of bread, rather than settle for 1. Well, I'll show you one other time, and if you don't like it, just say so, and I'll return you to your own time, if there is time to do so. Take the tunnel to your left. You follow his direction, walk through the tunnel, come out into a city street. Instantly you realize there was a war going on. Bombs and rockets are exploding all around you. You cry out to the old man, asking to be returned to the Cave of Time, but there's no time left. Woo! The end. Wow. That was pretty terrible. Okay, I guess we shouldn't ask the old man for too much. Oh well, I guess we'll try option 41, see what happens there. I don't want to take the chance of being stuck in a bad time. I can understand, the old man replies, why you don't want to take a chance with another time. For other times are perilous and filled with evil people and evil deeds. You are wise to avoid them, and I will gladly direct you back to your own time, which, you should know, is no better and no worse. The end. I think our own time here is probably a lot better than some other times. You beard man. Yeah, that was rude. He didn't have to do that. I mean, okay. Maybe we we're asking him for too much, but he didn't have to get us killed. So all of these choices led to an ending, basically. We got to meet an old man. I mean, that's his philosophy, I guess, is that we ask him for too much that he ends up getting us killed. So we're back here where we decided to wait. Do we still want to decide to wait? At the very beginning we should go home. Yeah, let's give that a try, Beth. We'll see what happens if we decide to go back home. We go to page 4. As you start walking back towards the ranch, you notice the trail seems very different than you remember it, though of course moonlight can play tricks on your eyes. But you suddenly realize you are not walking on the trail at all, but on what seems to be a dried up riverbed. You hurry back to the cave entrance. You look around you and realize the whole landscape has changed. While you were in the cave, torrents of water have washed out the trail, yet there is not so much as a puddle left. You shiver. It is cold, much colder than it should be at this time of year. You take a jacket out of your backpack and put it on, but you are still freezing. At least the world about you seems brighter. It's getting light in the east. The sun will soon be up. You look at your watch. It has run down, though you wound it only a few hours ago. Nothing seems to make sense anymore. You know you should get back to the ranch as quickly as possible, yet somehow you feel the only way to change things back to the way they were is to re-enter the cave. If you continue towards the ranch, turn to page 8. If you go back into the cave, turn to page 10. Now the cave is an entity. That's no cave. That's a spaceship. So, should we continue towards the ranch? So we have this feeling that the only way to change things is to go back and re-enter the cave. So is that like our ESP telling us to do that? Does anyone think we should go back to the ranch? I mean, it seems like we should not try to go back to the ranch because we're not in our own time, but maybe there's something cooler there now. Maybe it's better than our ranch. I mean, maybe we're in the future and our ranch is like a whole city now. Maybe it's a big giant ranch. Ranch. A lot of people saying we should go to the ranch. Alright, let's go to the ranch. As it gets lighter, you realize that you can't be on the right track. The canyon seems shallower than it was. The riverbed is strewn with boulders that were never there before. The cold wind chills you to the bone, yet it's the middle of summer. As you climb to higher ground to get a better view, you notice patches of snow. From the top of a ridge, you survey a barren plain, frozen lakes, and, in the distance, a massive range of snow-covered mountains. You begin to realize that you are not merely lost. You are lost in time, and you have somehow been transported to an ice age that occurred many thousands of years ago. You walk along one of the cliffs that borders the canyon, seeking shelter from the wind, and notice an entrance to another cave. You are tempted to go inside, but you feel you should keep moving in hopes of somehow reaching familiar country. And here we are with our weirdly shaped butt, as usual. And why are we dancing? I don't know. We're just like doing the Ice Age dance. That's what you do. If we should enter this other cave, turn to page 17. If you continue on, turn to page 18. More weird butt. Could be a casino now. So should we enter the cave? This is not the Cave of Time. This is some other cave. Just enter some strange cave that we don't know anything about it. Yeah, a lot of caves in this book. Or we can continue on. The Cave of Weird Butt. The Cave of Time Butt. Continue on. Caves are no good. Yeah, I have a bad feeling about going into some strange cave. All right. Continue on. Don't go into weird caves. You continue on, following a trail leading up a steep incline. You hear loud trumpeting sounds from a nearby ravine, the sounds of a large animal. You climb over some rocks and find yourself looking down on one of the largest land mammals that ever lived, the woolly mammoth. Huge as this creature is, its size is exaggerated even more by its thick coat of wool. You are cold, desperate, and tired. From your rock ledge, only a few feet over the mammoth, you could drop down on its back, burrow into its warm wool, and ride where it takes you. If you jump down on the woolly mammoth, turn to page 29. If you continue on foot, turn to page 30. I don't know, jumping on the back of a woolly mammoth sounds like a really bad idea unless you're in like a Flintstones cartoon. But, I don't know. If you jump on the back of it just right, you'll be okay. We will get impaled on his tusks, probably, with this book. I mean, it would be nice to befriend him. Maybe the woolly mammoth will just be our friend. Maybe he's like a talking woolly mammoth. What we got? Can we be friends with him without jumping on him? Looks like he has human ears. Yeah, I don't think we're going to jump on top of the woolly mammoth. I don't think anyone is thinking that's a good idea, right? Alright, we'll continue on foot. You had to jump on Ryan. So Ryan, you think we should jump on the woolly mammoth? 10 years old. Oh, and Beth, we also thinks we should jump on the woolly mammoth. Alright, we'll do it. We don't have to live by their rules anymore. Okay. As you land, the mammoth shudders like a horse shaking off flies. It begins lumbering along up the valley, apparently unaware you are still clinging to its woolly back, keeping warm and enjoying the ride. The mammoth reaches high ground, nibbles at some bark, and then walks on. Perhaps it will carry you near some cavemen who will give you food and shelter. Sure, because cavemen, you know, when they see you, they'll decide to give you some shelter. Suddenly, the mammoth stops and turns its head, listening for something. You look up and see human figures approaching from two sides. They are carrying spears and clubs. The mammoth begins to run. You hold on tight. The hunters follow, screaming and yelling. You can't see where the mammoth is heading, but you are afraid the hunters may drive it off the cliff. Yet, if you jump off while it's running, you could be badly hurt. If you jump to the ground, turn to page 52. If you hang on, turn to page 53. Yeah, the cavemen are known for their hospitality. You can like tell just from like that guy there. It looks really friendly. Yeah, you can tell they're just like going to welcome you with open arms and give you, share all their food with you. Yeah. So should we hang on? Stay with Wooly to the end? Hang on. Yeah, let's hang on. You hold tightly to tufts of wool, hoping the mammoth will slow down enough so that you can safely slide off. But suddenly, it pitches forward, making a terrible bellowing. In an instant, you realize you are falling through space. You cry out helplessly as you lose your grip, falling faster and faster. Thousands of years later, when Dr. Carlton Frisbee, the famous paleontologist, finds your bones next to those of a woolly mammoth in the Red Creek excavation, he is amazed at how closely you resemble a 20th century human being. Apparently, the end. Yeah. Apparently we did not have the option to stay with the woolly mammoth forever. That's sad. Should we maybe try jumping to the ground then? I feel bad for the mammoth. I think the mammoth was okay though. I don't see... Yeah, we finally died. We hadn't died until now. Dr. Frisbee. He doesn't know what he's talking about. This is our first death. Excuse me. This is our first death this time. Yeah, I'm just going to drink some water. Yeah, we literally made history. I mean, not the way we wanted to, but... We did have some kind of like historical importance. Actually, do you want to maybe not jump down to the woolly mammoth and then continue on foot? Should we try that? We messed up science. Yeah, we sure did. Alright, maybe we'll try continuing on foot instead of jumping on the woolly mammoth. Or we could jump off the woolly mammoth. Continue on foot. Okay. Riding on a mammoth might be fun if you were not cold and hungry and lost. But where would it take you? You continue walking, your spirit sinking. Just as you feel ready to sit down and cry, you see an opening in the ground. You crawl in on your hands and knees. It might provide some warmth, and it might lead to the cave of time. You find yourself in a tunnel. There are other tunnels branching off. You feel sure you are now in the cave of time. You are eager to take the next tunnel to the surface, but you want to travel a long way forward in time. Maybe you should take a tunnel further on. If you take the first tunnel that you can, turn to page 54. If you take a tunnel further on, turn to page 92. There are a lot of caves in this book. So should we take who thinks we should take the first tunnel that we can? And does anyone think we should take a tunnel further on? I mean, the idea of going into the future does sound really exciting, because so far we've only gotten into the past. Further on. 2 votes for further. Anyone else think we should take the first tunnel or go further on? Yeah, I mean, it might take us back to the spaceship. That could happen. Okay, everyone's saying. A lot of people say we should go further on. Okay, we'll go further on. Page 92. You continue a long distance until you come to the next tunnel. From there, it is only a short distance until you reach the surface. An amazing sight meets your eyes. As far as you can see, the land looks like a beautiful park, with soft, feathery grass and towering trees. Here and there are clusters of multicolored, dome-shaped buildings, connected by ramps, terraces, and walkways. Some people dressed in simple khaki pants and shirts and tan sneakers walk up to you. They do not understand your language, nor you theirs. They look much like the people of your time, except that they are unusually trim, muscular, and healthy looking, and they are a good deal smaller than your own people. They take you inside a dome-shaped building and show you electronic equipment that looks like a computer. You notice a typewriter, so you sit at it and type a message. The computer prints out a reply. It apparently has access to memory banks containing your language. You soon discover that you are living in the year 3742. Turn to page 56. Nope, it has not page 56. Through computer instruction, you are able to learn the language, which you find is similar to English, so you are soon able to communicate with your hosts. They are not at all surprised to hear that you arrived through the Cave of Time. You are not the first, the head of the household tells you, but we have visitors from other times only once in a great while. When someone comes, we are always glad to learn about life in another era, because here we have achieved a sort of paradise. We do not work, and the world is at peace. It is a perfect society. That is why primitive epochs, such as yours, interest us so much. Is it epochs? Epochs? If you stay in the perfect society, turn to page 57. If you try to return to the Cave of Time, turn to page 60. Plus, they're not fat, because that's the worst thing ever. As we know from Choose Your Own Adventure books, if you're fat, that's a horrible, terrible thing. Unusually trim and muscular. They're also expertly built. They're also really, really strong. Oh, sorry. All right. Do we want to stay in the perfect society where everyone's really trim and muscular? Or do we want to go back to the Cave of Time? We could stay. Well, the funny thing is that it says if we want to stay in the perfect society, turn to page 57. And the funny thing is that page 57 is like right here. So you don't even have to like turn the page, like you're at the page. Yeah, that's funny. Well, let's find out what happens if we stay in the perfect society. The hosts give you a fine bedroom with large windows overlooking the park on one side. On another wall is a beautiful painting of the California seacoast. When you push a button, the painting folds up to the ceiling, revealing a large screen. Your room contains a computer terminal that enables you to select any movie or other program you desire from over 10,000 possibilities. There are even films where you are the main character and you can make choices as to what will happen next in the story. Then, if you don't like the way the plot is working out, you can go back to an earlier point and make different choices from then on. On your terminal, you can also play games and flash pages of books or magazines on the screen. You can live quite well without even getting out of bed. That's pretty much what people have been able to do for the last year during the pandemic. It's like basically it's basically like life now. Eventually you go exploring. You meet other people, but you find none of them very interesting. So you spend most of your time watching the greatest movies of all time. Gradually, you settle into your new life. One thing disturbs you. No one has made any new movies in the past 300 years. AKA the internet. Well, maybe they've made new movies in the past 300 years, but they're all like sequels. Or remakes. It was unexpectedly prophetic, yeah. We didn't even have to wait like another 5,000 years for this. It's like, it's the way things are now. Alright, well, no new movies, worst ending ever. No new movies in the last 300 years. This is horrible. Oh my god, this society's not perfect. Yeah, so there were movies made until the year 3400. That's not bad. I mean, how many movies can you make? So, if this is the year 3700 and they stopped making movies in the year 3400, there should be more than... It says there's over 10,000 possibilities. There should be like way over... There should be over like 100,000 possibilities. You know, I mean, we have 10,000 possibilities like right now, I think. So, all right. So maybe I'll try one more choice here and see if we decide to return to the Cave of Time. See what happens. Or, let's see. How about when we, where was that choice we had where we could keep going, walking on ahead, or we could take the first? I don't know where that was now. Oh, jump off Wooly? Okay. Yeah, let's go back to that and see what happens if we do that. If I could find it. Where was that woolly mammoth? I cannot find it. I mean, I know there was a picture of the woolly mammoth, so... Oh, here we go. Alright, we'll see what happens there. So we jump to the ground instead of hanging on to the woolly mammoth. Let's see what happens there. Turn to page 52. You work your way back to the mammoth's rump and slide down, landing hard on the icy ground, where you lie, aching and bruised, while the mammoth lumbers on. Suddenly it disappears, driven off the cliff. Oh. The hunters are shouting and cheering. Some of them come up to you. They are short and muscular. Their jaws jut out, and they have bright, squinting eyes. Their black hair hangs down to their shoulders. They are dressed in animal skins. You look up helplessly, wondering what they will do to you, but in an instant you can see that they will not hurt you. They help you up and carry you back to their cave and feed you steaming broth. It tastes awful, but makes you feel much better. You soon learn that the cave people will accept you as one of them, because you have, without realizing it, performed the sacred rite of their culture by riding bravely on the back of a mammoth. Life is harsh and simple with the cave people, and sometimes you long for your family, your friends, and your own time again. Yet your new life is as exciting and happy as you could wish for. The end. Yeah. Driven off cliff. That's actually what they think hunters did, I think. I read that somewhere, as they thought. This is basically what hunters back then would do. It's just like keep running and running after animals until they were driven off a cliff. Like I read somewhere that it's like we all know that the cheetah, is it the cheetah that's it's the fastest land animal? But then another thing was what mammal is capable of running the longest distance, like nonstop? And that's actually human beings, as it turns out. I don't know if that's true. I read it somewhere in something that sounded pretty scientific. But I guess that helped them back then to like hunt down large animals. But I feel kind of bad for the woolly mammoth. That's sad. But yeah, that was a good ending. Yeah, this series. I mean, it has like 40 endings, and I feel like that's like too many endings, you know, because then like everything turns into like an ending. Like, it doesn't need to have 40 endings. Oh yeah, they're the fastest at sprint, but they have no stamina. So they can run really fast, but not for a long period of time. Where I think it's the case that humans are capable of running the longest distance without stopping. So we have, you know, if we're conditioned to do it, we can run for like a really long period of time. So, yeah, so it's only the first book. Definitely got better after that. I think I'm going to stop here. It's been about an hour, so usually stop around that time. I ran for I got started a little late, but that was because the laptop I'm using is really, really old and apparently can't be updated. So, yeah. So I hope you all enjoy this. Reminded me of the time read as a kid. Yeah, some of the books are really fun. Like I have some books coming up that should be a bit more exciting. You're welcome, Jen. Next week I am going to read Return to the Cave of Time, which was book 50. So it's like sort of a sequel to this book. Yeah, we didn't get to meet the dragon, but maybe I'll go back to this book someday and see if we can meet the dragon. But all right, yeah, I'll stop here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see hopefully all of you next week, next Tuesday at 8 for Return to the Cave of Time. Take care.